Okay, welcome back from break. This is the 18th lesson we are going to cover here. And we are going to talk about the political development and struggle for independence in Kenya. I know previously I had introduced how these people are obtaining education from the white man, that is from the colonialist schools that were established by the colonialists, and we talked about them. Example we gave those who are designed, or those who are established by the missionaries, that is Alliance. We talked about the Kaba, we talked about the Manu, we talked about what? We talked about the what? The St. Mary's and etc. And there are others that were introduced or established by the Africans themselves, and there are some like Al-Bishram, which was established by the Asians themselves. So after African obtaining education from these institutions of education, then these people also managed to attend the World War I, where they got experience, and thereafter coming back to Kenya, they realized that there's a lot that they were having as far as superiority is concerned. That's made them not to fear whites no more, and therefore they started forming some of the associations. And we say that the first association that was formed was known as the Kikuyu Association. Then after that there was Young Kikuyu Association, then thereafter there was East African Association. And I introduced the East African Associations, and today in this lesson I just want us to proceed from where it was and look at the grievances behind it. What were their complaints as far as the struggle for independence is concerned? What were their complaints on the colonial government in the country, Kenya? So I am Mr. Mboya, feel welcome and feel much welcome. So EAA, this is East African Association. That was the third association that was established in Kenya. It became a popular association in 1920s, attracting a huge crowd in its meeting. Associations, these were the early political organizations. It started with the political organization, but basically they were ethnically grouped, except the East African, which contained very many people from different parts of the country, Kenya. But then, if you look at it, or apart from this, there are others that are coming from each and every ethnic background within the country, Kenya. If you look at the Luo, they were having theirs known as Young Kabizonda Association. If you talk about the Taita, they were having theirs known as Taita Il Association. If you talk about Gikuyu, they were also having theirs. If you talk about Gamba, they were also having theirs. But now East African Association, it was obtaining, it was a general, it was huge, because it was accommodating every member from each and every part of the country, Kenya. Then let's look at the grievances, complaints that these associations were having towards the regime of the British organization. What were the complaints that were having? Grievances simply means the complaint that they tabled before the colonial government in the country, Kenya. One, they were demanding for the removal of the status of Kenya as a colonial territory. Being that Kenya was changed, there was a change of Kenya being a protectorate to a colony. Colony now means that it was now the property of the British, and they were really aggrieved about that, and therefore they tabled that so that it should be removed and remain on the interest of Africa. Then the next, they were demanding for a common role for all the legislative council election. This was a chance always being given by the Africans, or each and every race in Africa, to go and present the rights, or present the problems that were facing the Africans, or if it was for the white, representing the whites in the legislative council in Britain. So this was just a meeting that was held annually, whereby each and every races were sending their representative to go and fight for their right and go and represent their interest there. So the Africans realized that their representatives were not matching the one which was for the Asian in the country Kenya, and also for the white. Therefore, they were demanding for a common role. Then another one, they wanted the return of the alienated land back to the African owners. Africans immensely lost their land. Their land was limited by the whites. But then, after the formation of this association, which was containing very many people within the country, then, not even in Kenya, even extended up to Uganda. And we talked about the members of the East African Association in the previous lesson, where we were having even somebody from Uganda. a leader from Uganda. Then also in Kenya, we're having different people within the locality. Then after that, they were opposed to the forced labor. Africans, Kenyans were being forced in the British plantations or the white settlers without being paid, and some of them were being paid less, which was not enough. That they raised that complaint so that this would be stopped, and at least to leave Kenyans to be or to leave them rest. Then the next, they wanted more educational facilities and also opportunity for Africans. At first, whites provided some education to the white, and also they were not allowing Africans to go to such schools. And we gave example of such school. And later, the missionaries established some of the schools for the Africans where we are having alliance, we are having money, and etc. So, as time goes by, African or Kenyans becoming literate, they started demanding for more education facilities so that they can improve, because they realized that the only way that could help them to get out of that bondage of the British domination within their land was through education. They were to acquire a white man education to help them remove them later. And that was a secret that these white or these African leaders already established. Even right now in society, if you want to send away the literate, if you want to send away maybe poverty, you want to send away the ignorance in the society, education is the best way to use that. Education is the best tool to come out of the bondage that might be in the society. Even, it could be even power. You can even use education to acquire power. You never know. So that is it. Then the next, they wanted the compulsory selling of cattle. So they wanted that to be dropped or to be stopped. The Africans, when I say Africans here, I'm talking about Kenyans. They were being forced to sell cattle to the whites by force. So they also tabled this to be stopped. Then the next, the removal of the bandit system, which was a form of trying to control the movement of Africans or Kenyans from one place to another, being suppressed. Then the next, protested European domination of government. They realized that the whites were very many. They were dominating the system or the structure. We talked about the structure or hierarchy of the British system of government in the Kenya. And we saw governor being the head. Then after that, we are having provincial. Then after that, we are having district. We are having DO. Then after that, village and etc. So most of these top-ranked positions were being dominated by the whites. And they protested for that, so that at least Africans also could get at least something which is very substantial as far as the hierarchy or hierarchical system of government is concerned within the colony Kenya. Then the next, they wanted art tax that was exclusively being paid by Africans to be abolished. That tax was a tax that being obtained from those people who have erected their house in the colony Kenya, because they were trying to say or to presume that Africa or Kenya was belonging to the British. So if you had erected or you had built your art tax, that means that you're supposed to pay a tax within the British government. Art tax here, I'm talking about these kind of houses here. This grass tax. This one here. So this was a grass thatched roof, and this is mud. So when you build this, after transforming Kenya colony from protectorate to colony means that Kenya now was a property of British. And when African or Kenyan built an house, this hut, then each and every hut, they were supposed to pay what? They were supposed to pay tax. It was kind of connected to rental for the place of renting that. And there were other taxes that were being what? Being also collected from African. We were also having breast tax. For these people who having children who has already attained the puberty stage, they were supposed to pay a certain tax that based on the breast. Then there were also tax which is based on poll. We talk about poll tax. This was a tax. Poll tax. This was for British administrative what? Activities. When you talk about art tax, which is that, art is that house, then you also have breast tax. Breast tax. So all of these, but the one which was very explosive The one which was very explosive was that one, permanent. You could not evade it because it was coming out of basic need. Of course, somebody cannot live without living somewhere. So it was something very important. But for you to pay that tax, you were supposed to pay it through working. So you were supposed to be forced to work to obtain that tax. You understand? So it was very bad. So the next thing I want us to talk about is just a brief history after that, after these people tabling those grievances, or after the East African Association tabling or showing their grievances towards the British colony. So due to the radical approach that was adopted by Hari Tuku, who was the chairman of that organization. So he used what? Approach that was radical, the violent one. So the colonial government had him arrested. They were very radical. They were becoming people who were kind of almost using violence. So when British saw that he was arrested, who was the chairman, the Hari Tuku, this was a leader from Magikuyu. So the colonial government had him arrested on 15th March 2022 and detained at Kingsway Police Station, now known as Nairobi Central Police Station. That's where he was detained. Then on 16th March 22, the Kikuyu women, Mudhoni and Jury, challenged the African men to violence, demanding the release of Tuku. So this woman here, when you talk about the role of women in sensitizing the Africans in fighting for their right, this woman is also there, but Mudhoni and Chiru, he was one of the ones sensitizing people for the release of the Hari Tuku. So when white think that arresting Hari Tuku was to stop everything, was to stop all the radical approach, then that was just the start. That's why even right now in the country Kenya, when you look at the government system, if you try maybe to kill or try to arrest somebody who is loved by other people, then we'll find that that's not the stop of everything, but that's the start. Because that will sensitize and will bring many other people on board to have an interest as far as fighting for the right is concerned. That's why you can see people like, for example, the former. It's very hard for him to be taken to the jail right now, even if he's trying to go contrary according to the law. Why? Because the position he holds, to some extent, may lead to chaos in the country. And therefore, the best way that the current president, Uhuru Kenyatta, did is to bring us on board through dialogue, and that is through handshaking. So it's in one way or the other, it's one way of bringing peace, but also one way of trying to avoid any other sensitivity or any other right that can come in future. Let's make this be the last part of this video. Let's tune in to the next one. Thank you.